In this video, we're going to be refining this mesh, but before we do that, we need to kind of clean up the scene. So let me just run the Scribe add-on from Proxy, which is not an add-on, it's a program actually. It's a very good one. If you're recording videos, use this. It's by Proxy, it's fantastic. Anyway, let's move things about. Yeah, so first let's grab this guy and create a new collection and call it reference and create, right? And we're going to move it above, well, not above cutters, but here above the backup. So, boom, right? And we're gonna turn it off in render and view at the moment. We don't need. Now, do not worry about these folders here and all this rubbish because I'm gonna be giving you a cleaned up file. And now let's grab these and move them to instances. So wheels instances, right? PG, let me just collapse this, and we're gonna turn them off. Well, actually no, just here, and move them above the, above the reference here, okay? In fact, yeah, this is fine. And then turn this off. I grab this empty, if we're gonna drop it into wheels, because it's an empty from wheels, it's going to get instance across, so I don't want to do that. Let's grab it and put it into cutters, okay? And this one, we're gonna, make a new one and truck main, okay? And create, right? Cool, and let's move it above wheels instances, PG. So now we're good. Turn the wheels on and the instances and also the reference because we will need it, okay? Awesome, perfect. Let me just run a power save and we're good to go. Sweet. So the first thing I want to do is I want to scale this plate here, so SX, and scale it out, right? Maybe to this width. And I want to also make this one a bit wider, okay? So, just wider a bit. And this could be actually sticking outside the bottom one, it's fine. I think it's gonna look pretty cool, so that's cool. Now, unfortunately, I got some problems with my Blender 4.4 alpha, so I'm gonna have to work in 4.3. Let's grab this plane here and select these and move them to the front, right? So let's go to the side view here and GY and move it somewhere here on this cut. And then we're going to grab this one and cut it with an N-gon from the top. So D N-gon, and we're going to slice it here and just run a cut like this and, click. Let's see if this is actually the same angle. It isn't. So you see what we're going to need to do. We need to align this. So Alt Z, select these and GY and hold Control. See, and it's going to snap perfectly to this angle. So we're going to have echoing, yeah? Now this one should be not so deep. So we're going to move it outside, okay? A GX and move it outside here. We want to make it more or less, kind of flush here with this GX, with this shape. I think that's fine, okay? And what I want to do is want to create a lip here. So I'm going to cut the cutter, right? So I'm going to run an N-gon again like this. And I'm going to cut it like this, okay? Like that, right? And now what we're going to do, we're going to recover cutter on this cutter. So we're going to select the cutter. Go to Everscroll and we're going to move this, right? So click and GY and move it in here, okay? So there you go. And this could be a bit deeper, here, like this. I think it's gonna look cooler. I'm just thinking. And also this one could be flush here, So Everscroll and go to edit view or edit mode and select this and GY and move it in here. Now how this will look. So let's grab this one and go to side view, Alt Z, B, select this and GY and move it all the way here, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're going to apply this now, okay? So let's just go to operations and smart apply. Now you gotta be careful with bevels because we don't want bevels to be applied. So always check if bevels are not applied. I'm a little bit paranoid about this right now. So, and here we're going to run a chamfer, but I want this chamfer. In fact, you know what? This could be a little bit. This could be a little bit deeper. we could extrude it in here, and we could straighten them up with machine tools. So click here, click here, click here, and then Alt A and straighten, right? And then click here, Shift click here and here, Alt A and straighten. And this is going to fix our angle. And this one, we can do the same thing. Okay, so here, click, 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 Alt A, straighten, click, Shift click here, here, and straighten. And then we can clean the mesh. So clean mesh, and just check if everything is, fine. This one is a little bit crooked, to be honest, so we're going to level it up. So go to the top view, Alt A and bottom, and it's going to flatten it. These add-ons are amazing, and Align, like I told you, Align from Machine Tools is just incredible. This is just, okay, life hack. Let's just click here, and we're going to mirror this across itself. It should be fine. There we go. And also, we should be mirroring. This one's already mirrored, so it's fine. Now let's try the back, and the back is fine, looks good. Could be a bit shorter, but I think it's fine. Okay. All right, peachy. So now next we need to do, what we need to do, we need to cut the windows, right? So let's just move this guy a little bit to the left. And we're gonna select this mesh, and by the way, let's just save it because reasons. Power save. Also, I just noticed, we need to taper the top here as well, so let's do it now, yeah? So let's go to the front and SX, and let's just hold hold shift, and more or less, there we go, that's better. Something was bothering me there, and it was it, there we go. So now let's go to front view, D and cutter, and here we're going to cut this from the front, okay? So let's just slice it like this, select it, and then slice it, right? You don't want to go too low because there's a bevel here in the bottom, right? And slice through it. And if it doesn't work for you, go to Shift V and make sure this one is selected. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to cut this in view in ortho, and be in orthographic view. Yeah, that's important. And then you can just simply slash this through here like that. And press B for bevel. Let's go with 6 segments, and then press Q for quad bevel in the back, you see? And we're going to create kind of like a gentle sort of a thing. And X for slash and space, okay? And let's see the middle here. This could be a little bit closer together, but you know what? Maybe this is good. G, X, and move it closer. Just be careful, you're going to be clipping your mesh with the bevel here. That's really, you're going to be really careful, yeah? So, just to be safe, just go to Edit Mode and Alt Z, B, and, move these a little bit here, okay? Because when you clip your mesh with a bevel, you're gonna be in a world of pain, right? Just saying. I think this is maybe a little bit better with a narrower sort of a cabin. I think it looks a bit more menacing, maybe. This one, is gonna look a bit wider. You know what I mean? Like kind of, maybe this is better. But we can ponder later, but In any case, what we're going to do is grab this cutter here, so ever scroll. Now what we're going to do is we're going to borrow this face here. Now be careful, because if you do this, Shift DY, and if you're going to extrude it, you're going to be actually cutting the mesh because you're in edit mode, right? But if you're going to select it and separate it, so hover over the mesh and press L, P, and by loose parts, you see the cut's going to disappear. Because now it's its own mesh and it's not linked in terms of data to this one. So you need to actually use it as a boolean now. So, shift click and difference, right? And then click on it and shift bool to switch to slash, okay? One more time, there we go. Now what we want to do is we want to array this. So select the cutter and go to array, press X twice and array this in here. Now the question is, do I want these windows so wide, or want them actually a little bit narrower? Also, I might want them a little bit closer here. So, GY and move them somewhere here. I think this is going to be peach. I like this. This is pretty cool. So now comes a tricky bit, because what we want a door on this side, okay? And since this mesh is mirrored, we can't have it. So first what we need to do is we need to nuke the mirror on these, all right? So go here and nuke the mirror. Secondly, we want to move this boolean that's causing these holes here to pop. We need to move it below the mirror, because what we need is for the mesh to be mirrored, and then boolean, right? Makes sense? So we're gonna move it here, right? Boom, and they're gonna disappear. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna save it because reasons. And then we're going to borrow this cutter, so Shift Bool again. And we're going to Shift D and move it in here. Well, we're gonna have to change the bevel on this one for sure. So we can actually nuke all these modifiers. What I'm after here is the height, you know. I want the height to be preserved. Also, what I want, more or less, is I want to align this cutter more or less with this window here, just for shits and giggles, okay? So, you know, I want to do that if I can, but I think I can. So let's do this one. Let's go to edit mode, Alt Z and B, and grab this one and G, Y, and move it in here. And we could make the door as wide as 2 windows, okay? Just more or less. Now let's move our guy back here. So GY and, you know, and let's see. And you see, this door is a bit too wide now, okay? So we're gonna make it, you know, we're gonna make it narrower. So let's just scale it, okay? So let's grab these, GY, and, you know, scale them a bit here. Let me see this now. Remember, it's a military vehicle, so, you know, the door doesn't have to be super comfortable. In fact, you know, if it's less comfortable, it's better. So Alt Z and select these, GZ, and drop them down. Yeah, so this will do, I think. Kind of hatch like this, right? Perfect. Now, let's apply the scale just in case. And what we're going to do now is we're going to bevel these edges and mirror them to all sides. So Q, hold Control and click on Mark and bevel it 6 segments at least, right? And also, if you notice this profile, actually 6 is not enough. Let's make it 9. There we go. 9 even is not enough. But before we do anything, what I want to do is I want to change the profile. See, it's a bit cornerish, right? So go to bevel and then press P, and we're going to adjust the profile here a bit, right? Boom, to this one. And then let's move the origin point to this cutter. So Shift S and to Geo. Alt X and then press X to reset the mirror, and then hold Shift and mirror to all the sides. And let's go back. So come on, let's go back. And now we need to cut it. Now let's go here and Shift select this one and Q and difference, and you'll see that's gonna happen. Now the reason why this happens is because HardOps is going to rearrange the modifiers, right? So now this could be a good idea. I mean, good idea. This could be a good example of, you know, when you would want to maybe go to workflow and change how modifiers are being sorted or turn it off, you know, temporarily. But I wouldn't recommend doing this. So we can do this manually, right? So again, we want to move this boolean below the mirror, right? Here, just collapse this. And we want to move this boolean, which is, hang on a second, the first one is in the bottom, that's here, this one. The reason why you can't see anything, because HardOps mirror is mirroring from this side to this side. So it's kind of negating this boolean here. But if I'm going to grab this boolean, the boolean for the door, that does nothing, seemingly, on the mirror, right? Boom, that happens. Now we don't have the mesh, we're missing the mesh, but we can, you know, we can get around this. So select the cutter, right, this one, Shift, select the mesh, Shift D them, and go to local view, right? Now what you want to do is you want to select this mesh, right? And you want to, let me see this. You want to remove this boolean, so nuke it, and you want to run smart apply, okay? And then we're going to click this one and shift click this one, go to Q and booleans and slash, and we're going to nuke this mesh. We don't need it. And we're going to grab this one and operations smart apply, or you could just keep it, you know, like this, right? It's okay. And if you're going to go back, you're going to see that you're going to have your mesh here, and, you know, it's still live boolean, so you can change it if you want to, okay? And then Shift 2. So that's the best way of doing this, in my opinion. But remember that now, if you do anything to this mesh, you can't mirror it from this side to the other side, because you're going to be messing, you know, this part, yeah? So just, you know, be aware of this. But anyway, you know, there you go. So let's just save it, right? And let's keep moving. So next what I want to do is I want to work a little bit on the suspension here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this bit here, Q and shift click on curve, extract and move it out. And I'm going to apply this. So, you know, Operation Smart Apply, and just always check if the bevel isn't applying because I had some issues with, let me just clean this mesh here, I had some issues with this blender and the version of Hardup, so it's a bit annoying. Maybe a little bit smaller, this chamfer, and then let's just do this and, you know, extrude it and scale it. And then we're going to run a cursor to this one, so cursor to face, and we're gonna add a cylinder, okay? So go to mesh and cylinder. Now, we don't really need many of these segments because A is gonna be underneath the vehicle and B, you know, we're not gonna be running any crazy stuff on it, so, you know, it doesn't really matter. So this is fine. Make it a bit bigger, maybe, you know, kind of stoutish, do you know what I mean? And actually, let's grab it and drop it down. I think it's gonna be cool, but not too low because we wanna have a clearance, okay? And let's just apply scale. Apply a chamfer here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something like this, right? Boom, right? I think it looks pretty cool. All right, cool. And then we're going to run a loop here, and we're going to grab this top. Let's go to local view. And in fact, let's just nuke this face for a second. So remove the face, select that Q and Alt click on the macro and scale this. And we're gonna remove this lip here, nuke faces, and clean energy audits, you know, redundant F for face, and we're good to go. And we're gonna put, you know, put some bowl on it, right? There we go, okay? And we did almost. Now, let's move the cursor to this one. So Shift S and to select. And we're gonna go to Hardups, so Alt W, and go to local view and click on this spring. And then hold Control, and we're gonna adjust it. Don't ask me which adjustment is for what, because I never remember. I just, you know, play with things and it's gonna happen, do you know what I mean? So, just like with girls, you know, just play around, you know, and feel your way around, okay? I can't wait for someone to get upset with this again. Ryu is such a misogynist, oh my god, these. Okay, so now here, let's make it a bit thicker, you know, like a proper German coil. And I think we're good. Maybe this is a little bit too big. Now the issue is when you stop, I mean when you click off of this, you will lose the ability to adjust it. So keep it selected until you're happy with it. You know what I mean? So I think this could do for now. And you know, let's grab all of them, okay? And now let's go to the bottom view here. Let's select this and Shift D, right? And then P, Balus parts, and select it. Then Shift S and origin to geo, and we're gonna solidify it down, okay? So modify, solid. See, like we're using the same tools all the time. See what I mean? You can do so much with all these tools. They're just so simple. You don't have to overcomplicate your life in Hardups. You know, Alt Z here, and we're going to B select this and Alt A and align it here. Then we're going to clean the mesh so we can clean all this rubbish, right? So watch, clean, not Smart Apply, clean mesh. And then, I lost it, come on. There we go. And then we need to align this. So grab this in with Alt Z, select these. Come on, select these, then shift select this one, Alt A, align. Then select these, shift click, Alt A, align. Boom, done. Now we just need to nuke the weighted normals because we don't need it and sharpen it, okay? There we go. And then we're going to move it in and use a boolean. So shift click and difference. And then we can go as far as we want to, right? I think this is gonna be interesting. We could go even deeper here, you know, like this. How are we looking here? I don't know if I actually like that. Maybe, I don't think so. I think up to here is fine. So you can kind of see this. You know, we can play with this later, but for now, you know, let's leave this. And also we need to drive this one through. So edit mode, select this one, go back, and you know, G and Z and boom, right? So there's something. And obviously we're gonna have to array this. So go to bottom, right? Have a scroll and Q and array. And just remember to erase once because the other wheels, you know, we need to duplicate it. So Shift D Y, move it in here, right? Hold Shift and then Shift click and difference. Okay, and it's gonna get mirrored. And if you're going to drop these to instancing, so you're gonna drop them to wheels. And by the way, you need to mirror this. So select this with Shift and press X to reset mirror and mirror. And then we're going to grab these three and put them into wheels, and it's gonna array them around, so you don't have to do it. Now in the back here, we need to fix the shading. So let's go here, press Q, shift click on sharpen, and move your mouse to the right to fix this shading. Hang on, let me wait at normals. Maybe that's the. Let me just see this. We could apply this boolean in the back though, which is which one? We could apply this boolean and this, where is it? Not this one, this one, yeah? So apply, and it's gonna fix the problem. Okay, perfect. So now Q and shift click on sharpen, which is going to kind of adjust the auto smooth to 35 degrees, which is gonna be, you know, peachy. So there you go. Okay, cool. So, you know, that's done. And once we at the back, what we can do is borrow these. So Shift D Y and move them down here. And I want to create kind of like a two cases in here or something, or like containers, whatnot. Here, I think it's gonna look pretty cool. And I'm gonna make them a little bit shorter. So let's go here, Alt Z, B, and GZ, and you know, make them smaller, and then go to modify, solidify, and boom. And then, you know, do that here. How are we looking? This is too deep. Yeah, there you go. We need to clearance here for the wheels. In fact, I think this is gonna look even better, you know. Maybe this is still too deep. Maybe something like this would be better, or even moved inside here like that. I just don't like this clipping with the wheels, you know. I really don't. Maybe something like this then. Maybe this is fine. I really have to think about this. Another option would be to make this deeper. So hang on. Alt Z B and drop it down, but move it deeper here. This could be interesting. Right? And then we could chamfer these. So drop them even lower, but we cannot interfere with the, you know, with the springs. So that, and then let's just multiply them and, you know, chamfer them here, right? Like this. And obviously we need to nuke this one. So then move origin point to geo and then mirror across here, right? And bring them closer together. So GX, boom, right? I think something like this. And bevel them. And obviously we need to make sure that the bevel is the right profile. How are we looking? Yeah, I can live with this. I can live with this. This is cool. This is cool. We can have some lights here on, you know, on the back, whatever. In fact, we can put them now. So let's just grab a cube and make it smaller and, you know, wider, right? And narrower. And we can put some, you know, whatever here, lights or whatnot, right? And, you know, boom and mirror, right? So there you go. And then let's apply scale and mirror, bevel them like this, and, you know, bevel, right? For now, it's just a placeholder, don't worry about it. I'm not sure I like the shape though. Yeah, let's keep them square for now. And also a bit smaller. And maybe here we better. Or maybe here. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, well, you know, placeholder, yeah? Placeholder, you know what I mean? Just, you know, just for now, let's keep them here. Okay, so now here on the front, what we want to do is we want to cut this, right? Also, we want to bring it a little bit closer, so there we go. And we want to cut this here. So let's just cut this like this, right? And let me just go down here and see. Have a scroll and GY and move it in here. We could move it inside, that's fine. What I could do actually is recover this and go to settings and shift click on sheet solid and grab this piece and you know, mirror it across this cabin like that, and then simply apply it. So go to operation smart apply, and I'm gonna have this, you know, piece in the middle I can, you know, manipulate with, right? So I just bevel it and do something with it later on. But more importantly, we need to work with this one first. So let's cut this, yeah, because we want to cut this. Now let's you know, not cut this so deep. So let's just recover this and bring it up here. And in fact, what I want to do is I want to extend or make this top part here a little bit larger. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to apply one of these booleans here, which is going to be this one and also this one, right? I want to apply these two. So now what I can do is I can use this plane as a transformation custom one here, and we're gonna grab this face on top and move it up. Okay, so G, I think it's gonna be Y or X, there we go. Move it up here. Obviously it's too tall, but don't worry about it. We're gonna run another cut on top of this. You see this fucking line again? It's really annoying. So cut this, and then we can have some fun here, you know, adjust this thing, okay? Another thing I'm wondering if this is not too, you know, not too thick. So maybe this should be a little bit, why I cannot move this? Ah, it's custom orientation, that's why I just switch it to global. GY and kind of, you know, thin it out a bit, you know, maybe it's just too crazy over there, you know what I mean? I think this one's gonna be better. Yeah, that looks better. Or we don't cut this here. Or we don't cut this. You know, instead of this one, what we do is we, let me just apply this, okay? So apply this boolean, which one is it? It's not this one. It's this one, right? So let's apply this boolean. And we're going to chamfer it here, like this. Maybe that's the play. And then, you know, instead of cutting this, we could cut the bottom. So we could, you know, we could slash here like this, right? And then shift click, and obviously we will need to move these cuts a little bit outside so they're not clipping. Okay, there we go, right? And this one could be shifted to slash. Okay, and once we do that, what we could do is sharpen this, move it inwards like that, and, you know, and bevel this, right? This could be interesting. It's gonna create kind of like a, you know, massive block or some stuff. This one could be also cut here like this, in my opinion, or conversely could be brought down. So we could extrude it, go to local view and do the same trick. So click, click, click and straighten, and then, you know, click, click, click and straighten. It's a savage tool, isn't it? And then we select these two, this one and alt and top, boom, you're done. And then you clean the mesh and you're laughing at vanilla, people, you know what I mean? So yeah, see, like this is kind of cool. It sort of offsets this bottom, and I kind of like this. That looks really cool. Kind of creates like a interesting skid plates and such. This could be actually beveled. Oh yeah, this is cool. Oh, I like this. And then we could have some cuts here. I'm just saying, and you know, even wedge cuts or some such. But this could be very interesting here. You know, play like that. You see what I mean? Oh, this is lovely. Okay, good. You know, let's not focus too much on the front anymore because you know reasons. But I still actually think that might be a good idea to do something here. I don't know. I just want to do something here. I don't know what yet. Maybe a bevel. It's not gonna be too soft. In fact, I think it kind of plays with this bevel here in the front. You know, what we could have is kind of like two sticking out pipes here. Would look pretty badass, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like for example, we just grab a plane. I'll show you. So we grab a plane, move it in here. Go to edit mode, shift 1 with machine tools to collapse all the verts. Go here and then, you know, E and, you know, and then E and move it in here and then, you know, E and drop it down here, right? Select these two and bevel them, just fewer segments. And then let's go to curve extract. So, operations, or was it mesh tools? Mesh tools, boom, right? And then S, right? And this should be thicker, so there we go, right? Actually, that's too thick. Something like that. And put it in here, you know. One and on the side here, right? And then one on the other side, boom, right? See what I mean? Oh, that looks pretty cool, right? Now you don't want it to, you don't want them to be in the middle. So let's just go to, you know, like in the middle of this thing. So either higher or lower. I think lower might be more menacing, but I could be wrong. Let's just see this. I kind of like this kind of sticking of the out of the wheel. I think this looks better than this. Although, I think this is better. And also it's gonna look better from the front, you see. That's pretty cool. But, you know, for now this is just a placeholder, yeah? Here too we could have a little bit of a detail on the bottom, kind of like, I don't know what you call this, but it's gonna look cool. EM macro, Alt EM macro, if you hold Alt and do this. And the bevel is a bit too large, you have to be careful not to overshoot, you see? It's kind of overshooting. I just noticed that a mirror here is messed up, look at this. There's one mirror here too many. Which one? This one. Nuke it. Sorted. Now, what I was saying, oh yes, in the front here, cylinder, right? And rotate it with control, make it small, bring it up here, okay? And we're gonna create kind of like a, I don't know, water canister, so whatever. You know, it's a survival kind of a environment, sort of a rough environment survival slash whatever vessel, I mean vehicle. So this could actually work. Let's just, you know, do this. In fact, let's just apply scale, control apply scale, and then one more time. There we go. And we could have two of these, you know, here in the front. In fact, it could be a little bit longer. So Alt Z, B, and GX, and you know, there we go. And mirror, you know, here in the front. We're gonna mount them later on, right? Some are here or whatever. Right? I'm not sure that I like this alignment here, so we're probably gonna bring this higher here like this. And yeah, that is fine. We could also move some of them, like 3 of them or something here on the side. So, and on the other side we have door, so we need to nuke the mirror, right? But on this side are Y90 and, you know, make them smaller and have like 3 of them in here, you know. I think it's going to be cool. Not 4, 3. And sort of misaligned with the windows. I think it's going to look badass, you know what I mean? Some kind of, I don't know, whatever here, right? Like this, boom, right? And then we can grab, we can actually grab these, right? And shift them to the front. G, and you see, like when you, what I told you before, when you have a nice block out, things are placing themselves. You don't really have to do much. They're literally placing themselves, okay? You don't really have to do much. Let's apply scale. go to bevel and bevel these, and we're going to bevel them, and then let's grab this here and shift click curve extract, and we're going to extend them on this axis and slice them, you know. So we're going to run a slice like this, right? And, you know, bring these lights back here. Okay. Boom, right? And these bad boys could be here on the top, right? So somewhere here. And the same story. Apply scale and, you know, boom, right? And I'm gonna be doing, and I'm gonna be doing anything with them, just gonna put them there, okay? For now, and they could be actually lower somewhere here. It's gonna look better, I think. But, you know, we'll do it later. This could be, you know, chamfered here. I mean, you know what I mean? I think it's gonna look cool like this. I really do. And it's gonna show a bit of this, but then if we do this one, we need to move these, or, you know, these up a bit, and this is not going to look great. Probably then I'm gonna have to, you know, I'll have to move them in here, which is also fine, to be honest, because they cannot be that low, right? It's not gonna look good. They could be actually now in the middle here, to be honest. I think it's fine, you know, just a little bit closer here, okay? I think it's fine. That's kind of cool. Let me think. Oh yes, also shift curve extract and then nuke the mirror, and let me just grab this, right? Shift S to geometry, hold control, rotate it, and we need to move to the middle. So Shift S to select it and to cursor and move it here, and we're gonna have this hatch here on the top. Okay, I'm not gonna be doing anything with it at the moment, so just sharpen, chamfer it, right? And for the time being, that's all I'm gonna do here, right? I'm not gonna touch anything, and you know, other than this. And this is actually too large. Let's make it a little bit smaller, and, you know, maybe drop it here. And we could just add some lip for it. So, you know, select that, Q, alt click on EM macro, and boom. And you see, like, we're using literally all the time, we're using the same tools, right? We're not using anything special here, right? Yeah, we will think about it later, but, you know, for now it's fine. Another thing that actually, this could be a little bit lower. That's good. Another thing we need is kind of like a railing on top. So what we could do is grab this one, right? This whole edge. And we could simply run, what do you call this thing? Curve extract, boom, right? And then you just go with S and move it up, and, you know, you're peachy, right? And just scale it a little bit. Whoops, Shift S to geometry. Let's go to the top view. Scale it a bit, right? And move it backwards behind the lights, right? Boom. And there you go. And we can sort it out later, you know, going down here or something, right? And we're gonna add some support for it. But for now, what we could do is grab the lights, just move them to the top, and readjust them for these holders. So SX, scale it, you know, move them here, and just drop them down, right? Okay, and then array them to the front. So X, and maybe here, and make them smaller. So SY, right? And there you go. Okay, and then let's bevel them. We need to apply scale, which might mess up our array, but it's okay. You see, it messed up the array. So let's fix the array. When you apply scale, you always your array is always gonna get messed up, right? So this is, you know, this starts looking really interesting, and you see how easy now is to place details, because you start seeing where things could go naturally, right? You don't have to think that much. So I'm not sure if I like this, you know, this massive cutouts. Maybe they should be smaller. Maybe this is too big. Where is this thing? Let me have a scroll this. Yeah, I think I should S Shift Z and make it smaller. and G, X, and move it in here. How are we looking now? Maybe this is better. Maybe this is okay, you know. I mean, this could be fine. We haven't applied this yet, so it's fine. You know, this video is already very long, but I'm having fun, so let's just do something in here. Okay, so let's apply these. So operations multiply, and this is gonna apply the mirror. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to redo this, but it's okay. Let's just do something like this. I'm gonna make this bigger and also put them in the middle here. In fact, what we need to do is gonna replace them because they're not dense enough, right? What you could do technically, you could just do a trick. I'll show you. So select all the circles, go to subdivide, then right click on loop tools and circle, and it's going to fix your mesh to here too. Subdivide and then right click and, you know, loop tools on circle. Issue is you're gonna have to connect these, right? So it's a bit annoying. So it's easier to run a new cylinder. So Shift S and cursor to select it, nuke that and another cylinder, and let's run it with 50, okay? And in fact, let's run it with 60, okay? Screw it. It's a massive structure, so it's okay. Make it a bit bigger maybe, you know, and run a, you know, bevel on it. I think larger is fine. And we can mirror this, you know, one more time. Mirror here, there we go. And move it to the center, there we go. And we could just create some kind of let me just apply scale. Create a chamfer here. Maybe this chamfer should be deeper. Maybe they should be longer and the chamfer should be deeper. How about this? And in fact, what we could do is do something like this. They're not gonna be like engines, but sort of, you know. This could be actually quite interesting, to be honest. How about if we're gonna run the bevel here? Ooh. That's kind of cool. Or is this better? We could run a mark here, just, you know, I don't know if it's possible, but let's try this. Yeah, it's not gonna be possible. Too many verts, so we will need to play with vert groups, and I really don't want to do that. Anyway, let's scale this one, and scale it again, and G, Y, and insert it like this, and run a chamfer here. And I think for now, this might do, okay? For now, this might do. What I was thinking is to run 2 loops in here and split them and then Alt-M macro inside, right? Like this. And then select these and Q-Shift Curve Extract. Oh, Blender crashed. Let's see if we can recover this. It was 4.3, right? Okay, I managed to recover this. Fantastic. You see, like with autosave, you're just losing like what, 2 seconds of work, you know what I mean? Like it's a no-brainer to use this add-on. Okay, here. And then let's just run that. In fact, this could be a little bit here also. These both could be wider. So now select these two and, or I could just run one, but I think two might be fine. So Alt-M macro. Alt-M macro sometimes crashes Blender, so be careful. And shift click on curve extract and do this. And how are we looking? This could be interesting. So bevel this. Can we bevel this? Hold control and click on bevel. There we go. And Bob's uncle. So that looks good, right? That looks good. And this could be some kind of, you know, like it could even have a bevel here, to be honest. Let me see this. This could be actually I like that. This could be echoing these bevels, you know what I mean? So now let's shift control click on sharpen to clean this. Alt X and mirror, and then what we're gonna do, these fuckers are coming out through again, and then we're going to mirror this again, so A and mirror across, which didn't work, so one more time, and shift click, Alt X, and another mirror, and mirror, there we go. And I think I like this. So how are we looking? You know, these lights should be bloody hanging down like this, in my opinion. They should be also taller. And I still think they should be, apply scale, they should be slightly beveled, just like the other ones. What we just need to do is give them some kind of a cover. So shift curve extract like this, right? And make it deeper. Maybe the same size is fine. Run a bevel on this, right? So control click on bevel here and boom, right? And let's just drop them. So, or in fact, you know what? We could move them inside the chassis here like this and move them outside back like that. This is kind of cool. Not gonna lie, I like this. Another thing we could do is we can build them into the chassis like that, which would be interesting. But then that just looks a little bit weird. Also, what we could do, you know, drop them down here. And what we could do is run a ramp here. So grab this one, right? And shift curve extract like this. And then I just apply this and grab the bottom and drop it down. And simply run a kind of a bumper here like this, you know, right? And we're gonna figure it out later, but just this is, again, it's a placeholder, you know what I mean? It's a placeholder, so don't get too hung up on it, okay? Here, drop it down lower, right? Right? And obviously, this could be actually sliced here like this, right? Weighted normals, you know what I mean? So have a scroll, S, X, maybe it could be wider like this. In fact, what we could do is chamfer this. Ooh. Ooh. And mirror. How are we looking? Oh, I like that. Oh, I actually like that. And then this one could be going all the way down here. So GY and move it all the way down here, you know, like this. Right? See, now it starts making sense. I like this. In fact, this one could be, you know, could be slightly chamfered here for a bit of a planar shift over there, okay? I think it's gonna be interesting. So could this one actually, you know, here. Boom, like that, you know what I mean? I think it looks cool. That looks good. The back starts looking really good to me. These could be some containers. Also, I think we should also have either bevel or chamfer here. And I think chamfer is gonna be stronger. Although bevel looks kind of cool. How chamfer would look? Yeah, chamfer looks better, okay. Alright, cool. So there you go. And I think that's it for one video now, because, you know, that's already long enough. Same here, you know, like you could have some kind of like a holder for it. So again, the same situation here. Split these. And then shift tilde. We have this shortcut or not? We don't. Okay, so select these loops. Split them. And, you know, we could just run curve extract here on them, right? Just, you know, and bevel, right? Now this, boom. You know what I mean? And just mount them here on the bottom. If you want to mount them, it's really easy. Just grab this, right? And we're going to shift D this, then P and selection. Go to local view, not with this one, with this one. And well, let's grab these, this one and this one, easy, and drop it down to, you know, this level, F, right? Fill this one, right? Then we're going to slice it and Bobjanko, right? And then bevel it. Just don't overdo it. And we also have to fix the normals. So let's apply this, sharpen, select everything, Alt N, recalculate outside, and actually bevel one more time, right? There you go. And you know, these could be narrower, obviously. So they could be kind of, you know, one here, for example. Or actually, you know what? This is actually fine. I like that. Now we will need more support here for them, so we will need to move this one deeper, right? Like this. Or just extrude it here. We will need to figure out what to do with this, right? I still think that this should be aligned. So, you know, click, and then Alt A and straighten, right? And the same here. So click, and Alt A and straighten. You know what I mean? This should be the play here, in my opinion. I think it's cool, and maybe we could have some kind of openings here. You know, D and gone, and we could have some, you know, some openings here. So come on, select that, boom, right? And press B and just slush this through. How we're looking. We're gonna have to recover this. Have a scroll, recover this, and fix it. So let's just nuke this bevel. It's retarded. We're gonna do it manually, right? So let's run this, and we're gonna run bevel here. Bevel on these two. You wanna run these bevels separately, okay? Because they're different angles. You know what I mean? So like this angle is different than this angle. You see what I mean? So let's see this. I see that's much better. And we could move this a little bit deeper. So G, Shift Z, and you know, we can just move it somewhere. S, Shift Z, make it larger, right? And move it somewhere here. And in addition, we could just, well, slice this. See, now this this whole thing becomes a lot of fun, because now we just start playing with design, right? You know what I mean? See what I mean? That's the whole thing here. You know, it's just fun now. S, Shift Z, and make it larger, and move it slightly forward. Whoa, Shift 2. Okay, how are we looking? I think we're looking good. I like that. I like that. Anyway, I think that's enough for one video. Do we need to attend to anything else? Oh, look at that. Our wheels have moved. Or not wheels, the cutters. So have a scroll. Okay, and the array has moved. So we need to move it in here with Shift. There we go. And these need to be, the size needs to be changed, because I see what happened. We changed the size, so the array moved. Right, obviously. So let's just move them here, and we're good to go. And this cut I thought was applied, so what happened here? Shift sharpen, and still messed up. What the hell is going on? Well, we could run a sharp edge here for the time being, but it's not going to fix this. We would need sharp edges here too, right? But you know, we're gonna work on this later. Also, I really don't like this situation here. You know, this is a terrible idea, and also it's a very feeble connection. So I would definitely do something else here in the next video. I mean, hang on a second. I think what happened is that the face got. I see what the problem is. So let's select this. Go to edge mode, face mode here, and GX, and move it out. There we go. And same here. So come on, have a scroll, and face and GX. Boom, right? How are we looking now? Looking better? I think it's better now. Okay, cool. Yeah, this starts looking really cool. This starts looking really cool. I think these are a little bit too deep, these. But you know, oh, these ones could be bigger, you know. This one could be bigger. What the hell happened to my wheels, though? Oh, no, nothing happened. These could be, you know, Shift S to geometry. This could be, you know what I mean? Like massive. Oh yeah, that actually looks better. Let me just mirror this. Oh shit, that actually looks pretty cool. That I like. That I like. And we could have some cables, you know, like whatnot. But it's a high-tech vehicle, so I don't think you should have any cables sticking out, you know. We also need to think what to do with this. I still wonder if this wouldn't be better if it was shallower. We can always fill it with something here, right? Just grab these and you know, Q and Control click on Curve Extract to extract these, you see? Then we can just run a face here, right, on top. F. Yeah, I know I said we're gonna finish this video, but I'm having too much fun, I'm sorry. When I start modeling, it's so difficult for me to stop because it's so much fun, you know what I mean? So, you know, I hope you don't mind, okay? But there you go. And this one, you know, I would want to cut this like this. I think it's gonna be cool. You see what I mean? So well, it didn't work. Hang on, let me just grab this and run this again like this. So I want it to be 2/3 and 1/3 X and slash it, right? And we're going to apply this one and apply this one. Select them both. Go to edit mode and select everything. Alt N and recalculate outside PG. And let's go back. That looks better. And you know, we could have some fun here. We could do this, right? And bring them a bit deeper. So GX and bring them a bit deeper, right? Like that. And I think this could be fun. Now, we could keep them cornered, to be honest. I think it's gonna be okay. Maybe that's fine. Let's just operations multiply. Maybe that's fine. But I definitely want to, you know, want him deeper into the structure here. Yeah. And what we could do is actually bevel this. How this looks. That's kind of cool actually. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. This is really cool. And here we could have, let's just recalculate. You see these edges again on bevels, the sharp edges? With two selected, so you have to go here, okay? Operations here. Shift click on sharpen, and this didn't fucking work. Interesting. One more time. 1, 2. Alright, you gotta do it one by one. Interesting. But what I want to do is lower the bevel here a little bit, right? And then cut them both here like this, right? Like this, okay? Inside X and actually, maybe not X, maybe just a cut, and then I'm going to recover it and bevel it differently. How about that? How are we looking now? See, that's really cool. I really like this. That looks like a high-tech storage or something. So let's mirror this across. Right? Boom. Yeah, so we probably should stop now. Because I could, you know, I could go like this forever. Just saying. Alright, for reals now, let's continue the next video.